Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we have one of the more bizarre stories I think I've ever covered, especially when it comes to like Twitch streamers and like Twitch drama, but seeing this all unfold on the timeline yesterday was pretty insane. I mean, yesterday was just a crazy day in general. I mean, we had Grand Theft Auto 6 leaking, Rockstar Games was just running around with their head cut off like a chicken. Then out of nowhere, this Twitch streamer gets exposed for scamming people out of upwards of $300,000 to fund a gambling addiction that he had, ripping off countless people, including his own viewers, his own Twitch mods, and other streamers in the community that he had become like acquaintances or friends with. It's actually insane, the rabbit hole that was created out of this entire situation. So I've spent a little bit of time now just kind of researching it, just trying to figure out what the extent of this was, because I knew that this was going to have to be something we talk about. This is one of the probably craziest stories of the year, to be honest with you guys. I can't think of anything like this ever happening that I can remember. I can't think of anything on YouTube, on TikTok, on Twitter, on Twitch, where a creator, especially one of this size, has gotten away with a scheme like this for so long and done so much damage to people financially. So this is all revolving around a Twitch streamer that goes by the name of Sliker. Okay, now I'm gonna be honest with you, I have never watched this guy. I don't know who he is. The only reason I even know of his existence in the first place is simply because, well, he got himself into this controversy. But to make a long story short, Sliker was going around to his own audience, was going around to his Twitch mods, and was going directly to other streamers on Twitch and basically asking for loans, right? Now, what he was going to do with these loans is he, well, lied about them, okay? First, he would say things like, oh, I have to buy my mom a plane ticket back to Iraq because my grandma has COVID and we got to get the whole family situation figured out. My bank account's frozen. I can't spend any money at the moment. I just need this loan for a little bit. I'll pay you back plus a little bit of interest after, a month or two. And people, thinking that this guy was in a rough situation, right, were just forking over money to him, giving him hundreds if not thousands of dollars, and he would basically run away like a little goblin, and he would go throw it all on betting, and he would go, spend it on gambling, completely lose the money, and then move on to like another person to get money from it. It's crazy how this whole thing went down, but so many different people have come out and said that they're a victim of this scam, and like I said at the beginning of this video, the total amount of money that we know about as of now that this guy has scammed out of people is upwards of $300,000. I don't know if maybe some of you don't realize just how much money that is. If you make $30,000 a year, it would take you a full decade, not even including taxes. You don't even think about that. It would take you a full decade to make that amount of money. And this guy was burning through that in a shorter period of time, a much significantly shorter period of time. So it's one of the scummiest things, honestly, I've ever really kind of seen happen, especially in a situation like this. Apparently, a certain Twitch streamer gave this guy upwards of like $28,000 to basically do what he needed to do, right? Of course, he would come up with these elaborate schemes and hoaxes on why he needed this money, but it was all going straight to gambling, and he was just pouring this money basically down the drain. It was like a pretty elaborate scheme, if anything, where essentially his plan, I guess, was he would ask somebody for the money, he would gamble, he would win more money than he basically quote-unquote borrowed from these people, and then he'd give them their cut back, and, he'd still pocket the difference, right? He'd make some money on the whole situation. But if you know literally anything about gambling whatsoever, you know that if you go into gambling with that mentality, you're basically just asking to have your whole life ruined. I mean, you can never, ever guarantee you're going to win gambling. In fact, if you really look at the odds and you break down like your possibility of really winning at any given moment, the odds are significantly stacked against you. So, I mean, it's a risk with, very, very, very high risk, but also if it were to go right, extremely high reward. The only problem is, well, of course, like most gambling addicts, it just doesn't go well for him. So I want to preface a lot of this video by saying that yes, Sliker does deal with a pretty massive problem, right? Gambling addiction and issues, it is serious. It's not like this isn't something that doesn't affect millions of people on a daily basis, but I don't really think that's a legitimate excuse for scamming people out of their money And he's kind of addressed this all, and I kind of want to cover that because I feel like a lot of people are cutting this guy a little bit too much slack. You know, they're saying, oh, well, he's a gambling addict, so, you know, oh, and I just don't agree. I'm sorry. I don't care if this guy is a gambling addict. I don't care if he has a problem. To basically give him the excuse of, oh, he's a gambling addict and make it seem like it's okay that he did what he did simply because, oh, you know, I'm a gambling addict. I'm sorry that I did this to everybody. I can't believe I did this. You know, all that does is give this guy wiggle room that he does not deserve. So I want to react to a clip of this guy talking about the situation and kind of just discuss more of the details of what happened and, of course, break down his response. So
I genuinely mean this. I genuinely mean that I do apologize for everyone that I borrowed off. I'm not asking for forgiveness, but every single day I felt guilty. Every single day. Taking off these innocents, viewers from streamers, viewers that don't even fucking work, man. Viewers that don't even work. Viewers that would need it because they're going to school and I'm being stupid. It would stack on stack and stack.
all right, so he refers to what he did as quote-unquote borrowing, and I guess at face value, yeah, he was borrowing money, but let's get serious about this, man. You were not borrowing money. I mean, you may have quote-unquote had the intention to pay them back when you won it big, but if you weren't, like, just fucking falling, like, a super victim of this whole gambling addiction, you would have known that you were just throwing money in the drain. And you did this to countless people, to the point where you racked up $300,000 of losses of other people's money that you borrowed. At a certain point, it stops becoming, oh, hey, I'm borrowing this money, and it becomes flat-out theft. You know, like you're coming up with just like fake cover stories on why you need people to give you money and you'll pay them back in a couple months when your bank account's unfrozen and whatnot. You're deliberately misleading people on why they're giving you that money. In my opinion, that's fucking theft. That is not borrowing money from anybody. If you give someone some elaborate ruse to make them feel bad for you and trick them into giving you money, that odds are 99.9% you're never going to be able to pay them back. That's not borrowing money from anybody. That is just flat out theft. You stole money. You stole. I don't know why people want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he was borrowing money. It's not borrowing money if you're never going to give it back. If there's basically zero chance of you ever giving it back. And oh, well, he didn't have completely malicious concerns because he wanted to pay these people back if he won. No. This guy wanted to use other people's money to get a quick buck because he had a gambling addiction he couldn't fund. It's time to stop giving shitbags like this the benefit of the doubt and letting them cover for themselves by saying, oh, I was borrowing. It's not borrowing. And he goes on to say he's taking money from his fucking viewers, man. Like, honestly, this kind of pisses me off because, like, I'm in a position, right, where, like, I have an audience too, and there's thousands of people who watch my videos every day, right, and they support me, they support my brand, they support everything I do, and to even think that there's people who take advantage of a position like that and, like, actually fuck their audience over and take money from them in this way, it kind of boils my blood, man, because, like, these are people who look up to you. These are people who see you in a very positive light, that think that you're genuinely doing this with the best intentions in mind, and you misled these people for your own personal gain, for your own personal issues. That's fucked up. And it goes even further than this. He was borrowing from people in real life, so I'm assuming his family and friends outside of the streaming world. He was borrowing money from his fucking Twitch mods. He was borrowing money from other streamers. He didn't care who he got money from. He was just taking money from anyone and everyone he possibly could. If any of you would have offered this guy $200 to throw into the fucking gambling machine, guess what he would have done? And you can always tell when someone's actually sorry for something, right? This guy shows absolutely no fucking emotion for anything that he's done, right? He's stone-faced the entire time, clearly bullshitting his whole dialogue here, because if he cared about literally any of the things that he was doing, he would have stopped doing this a long time ago or never done it in the first place. And he's only ever come out and said anything about this and apologized to people and whatnot after the fact. After everything happened, after people started exposing him, after people made it public and told the world what this guy was doing. That doesn't indicate to me that you're sorry about anything. What, because you apologized after everybody called you out for your bullshit? That doesn't mean you're sorry for anything, you know what I mean? I don't know, man.
People outside I'd borrow from in real life. And I've been in situations where I was scared, they'd pull up, have like warn me and pop my tires for my car. And these are friends, and I know people are gonna be like, "What friends do you have?" They don't know about it.
Another thing I really want to point out, and this is coming from my personal perspective here, right? Because he's talking about all these guys were popping my tires. You know, I was scared because of this. If you were so fucking terrified, why didn't you just stop? And I know that that might sound a little tone deaf because this guy deals with a gambling addiction and whatnot, but you have to want help for yourself. You know what I mean? You have to want to fix your own fucking problem. If you just continuously feed into it knowing that you're being a piece of shit and you don't care at all enough to fix the problem, then like, why should I feel bad for you? Why should I feel any sympathy for you or feel like you're a redeemable human being in any way? And once again, you know, he says, "Oh, I'm sorry for everything that happened. I you know, all this shit," right? Well, I'm just thinking about it from my perspective, right? Like, if I did something like this, right, in a parallel universe, and I lost people $300,000 of their hard-earned money, I don't know, man. I would have like 4 jobs. I don't know. I'd be working fucking 9 to 5 in a factory somewhere, sitting there in the 100-degree heat building cars. At 6 o'clock to like midnight, I'd be working a fucking shift at McDonald's, scraping together any money that I can to pay these people back. I would be fucking working my life away. I'd work myself to the bone to make sure I repaid that $300,000 worth of debt to all these people over time. I would not sit back and let it fester and become a problem to the point where it gets exposed to the public and then apologize and then act like I give a fuck and then act like I care about this problem. Like, it's just the most scumbag behavior you can really pull off, you know? Like, I really cannot think of many other things that you could genuinely do that are more scummy than this, right? Like, it's fucking criminal, in my opinion. I think if you do some shit like this, you should genuinely face consequences. Like, people cannot just get away with doing shit like this. This guy is a genuine leech to the people around him. And yeah, I might sound harsh, but dude, 300 grand? And I'm supposed to feel bad for this guy? $300,000 of all these other people's money, people he took advantage of. And I'm supposed to fucking feel sorry for him? This guy's not sorry. He doesn't give a fuck. If he did, if he cared about this problem enough, losing $300,000 of other people's money isn't enough of a wake-up call to be like, hey, maybe I'm a severe gambling addict. Maybe I need to take some steps to fix this problem. If that's not enough for you to go out and fix this fucking problem, and it has to get exposed to the public, I don't really care, man. Like, I just don't. I guess I'll be the asshole for saying this guy did a shitty thing and he's a shitbag for it. I don't feel bad for him because he has a gambling addiction. That's something he did to himself. And I understand that there's a lot of, like, nuance to this, right? You know, it's not just as cut and dry as, oh, he made the choice to start gambling, therefore he deserves a gambling addiction, but he's fed into this entire toxic cycle this whole time. He's devised a masterful scheme to rip people off and fucking degrade them as human beings by lying to them, all in the name of gambling. Like, and I'm, once again, supposed to feel bad for this guy or treat him differently because he has a gambling addiction. If this shit happened to me, I would be crucified on the internet. So what's the problem with him getting a little crucifixion for this one, man? So as of right now, from my understanding, XQC and I believe Miskiff and maybe some other people, maybe I got the names wrong on that, 2 major Twitch streamers, XQC being one of them, are currently working on like raising the money or like giving the money back somehow to all of the victims of this guy's scheme. Keep in mind, they're going out of pocket pretty much for like $300,000 worth of stealing that this guy basically went through with. I think that's a pretty good thing, but at the same time, you have a lot of Twitch streamers who are like right now using this situation to like call for an ending of gambling content on Twitch. If you didn't know, that is kind of like a subcategory of streams on Twitch now. Basically just people doing online gambling, you know, going on like, you know, cryptocurrency casinos and stuff like that and putting money into them. Personally, I don't have a huge issue with gambling streams. Personally, I stay away from gambling sponsorships and gambling streams and all that stuff because, I mean, the truth is yeah, gambling addiction is very serious. It's something that a lot of people deal with, and I would never want to participate in something that I feel like could hurt my audience. But If we just use the excuse that, oh, these Twitch streams are the reason that things like this happen, is that really any better than the witch hunts that other people have always used against video games and against our industry in general to blame other issues? I mean, people blaming video games for mass shootings. You got people blaming fucking, marijuana or alcohol use on stream, trying to say, oh, that encourages people to do it. It really just doesn't make sense, and I feel like a lot of people are just overreacting to this situation. I don't think gambling streams are what really caused this. I think this guy just knew what he was doing. And I feel like the sooner that people kind of come to that conclusion, the better. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about this just fucking insane situation and signing out.